Hi everyone, I'm Beth Blackerby and I'm making this video on behalf of Blackerby Violin Shop. And on October 6th, that's the Sunday before your audition, I will be at their new South location, 3401 West Slaughter Lane, from 4 to 6 p.m. And it's an open masterclass, so you can come anytime in that time period. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to play through your audition for me and for anyone else who shows up. So it'll be great preparation to play in front of people before the audition. Also, I'll be there to give you some feedback and some tips on how to, make it even better. So I hope you meet me there October 6th from 4 to 6. All right, so looking at your Etude. This is an excerpt from one of the Wolfart Etudes, and certainly I think the most difficult thing about it is playing it super well in tune. Not just kind of in tune, but perfectly in tune. And you may have heard your teacher say this, and if you haven't, then I'm going to say this to you. The best way to play in tune is to never play out of tune. I read that somewhere, and when I read it, I just thought, well, I wish I had made that up. What it really means is that when we start practicing something, if we're really careful in the beginning to make sure our intonation is really good, then we won't waste time practicing bad intonation. So I have a really good practice tip for you that I'm going to share in just a minute. And also I have a tool for you to use that I think is really fantastic. So if you look underneath the player, you will find a link. It will take you to soundslice.com. This is such a great resource. So what I did is I took this etude and I created an accompaniment made from drones. Okay, so a drone is when you hear, a pitch as background, and you match your pitches to that. So this is really good for really developing your ear and developing a good perception of intonation. So you'll hear a metronome click, and you have to keep every eighth note with the metronome click. And if you follow that, and when you click on this link, you'll see what I mean. When you follow the cursor, you'll know where you're supposed to be. And you tune and listen really carefully to the drones. And this will help your intonation a lot. Okay, another thing that's so beneficial when you're playing this is the technique of holding fingers down while you play other fingers to help your hand really establish a good position. It helps you feel the distance between notes. It helps you remember which fingers are close together or which ones should be close together and which ones are not close together. So I'm going to go through the first line with you, and I'm going to show you what I mean. I'm going to use an overhead camera so you can see my left hand. And if you practice like this, your intonation will improve. Because if we start playing like this, where when we put down a new finger, the previous finger just flies up, and then we put down another finger and the previous finger just flies up, that is an open invitation for bad intonation to creep in. So let's look at this together. So here I'm going to start right at the beginning of your excerpt. Okay, so notice I leave my first finger down when I play the third finger. So now, when my first finger has to go from the A string to the E string, I'm not going to lift it up and then put it on the E string, because I may not put it down in the same place. So what I'm going to do is do this. Imagine I am my first finger. Here's how I'm going to go to the E string from the A string. All right, so now I'm barely moving, and that minimal amount of motion is going to help ensure that I get to the same spot on the adjacent string. So watch my first finger. Okay, you could barely see it move. Okay, then when I get to the E string, I'm gonna hold my first finger down while I play the fourth finger. And then what happens? Then my first finger has to do this. It has to just move like that, back to the A string. Okay, now next measure. I'm gonna leave my first finger down. Just leave it down. I'm gonna play 3, 4, 3. I'm gonna leave my third finger down. Then, since my first finger is down, when I put my second finger for the B flat on the E string, and that's in the third measure of this, I know where it's supposed to go. It's supposed to go right next to my first finger. So this keeping fingers down when you're in a higher position with tricky key signatures, this is really, really helpful, okay? It's just good finger behavior. Now, let's talk about right arm behaviors. Right arms like to misbehave. They like to misbehave when you're focusing on your left hand. So the more focused you are on the left hand, the more likely your bow arm is going to do some things you might not want it to do. And one of the things it really likes to do is it likes to trail over the fingerboard. When you are playing in a higher position, like in third position, and especially on the E string, it is incredibly important, not just important, it's sort of crucial that you make sure your bow stays up here, kind of in these middle area sounding points. If your bow starts to get down here, the tone gets really pretty bad pretty quickly. And then if your bow is going crooked on top of that, that's not a quality sound. So you have to be right here, and you have to watch it sometimes. You have to just look down at your bow and make sure your elbow keeps moving. You want an elbow that is so steady in its movement. So essentially your right arm is going to be doing this pretty much the whole time. Okay, so it is going to be a very into the string détaché stroke. Now, I'm not sure about the tempo. I'm not sure how close I was to the actual tempo, but just keep that really good, healthy détaché stroke with your bow, being very careful to stay up here and not go down here. All right, well, I wish you all the best. Enjoy practicing with the resources that I have for you. I also have this printed out where I have the lines that shows how to hold the fingers down and how long to hold the fingers down for. So if you'd like to print this up, that link is under there too. And if you are still watching this video, even after all this time, and you've listened to me this whole time, I'd like to show my appreciation. And if you will email me at violinlab@gmail.com, violinlab@gmail.com, I will send you some surprises, some fun music that I think you would enjoy playing. And I hope to see you on the 6th at the new South location for Blackerby Violin Shop.